I want everybody to say, talk to me then, what? 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 Lay, talk to me then, what? Talk to me then, what?
Guess what? She's back. Last episode, we had the black balls. Now, bringing back the hubbly. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new to this channel, or you're coming across this type of content, I welcome you. This is the platform, or this side of me is where I share my 2 cents on every single topic that comes to mind, right? Now, at the end of the day, everyone has an opinion on something. You have an opinion on something. Yes, you. But it's either you don't want to talk about it, or actually you just don't want to talk about it. And at some point, we need to find out if everyone has the right to freedom of speech. I'm very glad that this shift that occurred from November, or let me just say from the beginning of 2025, this shift where now some of the things that we couldn't talk about, we can now talk about them. So I'm very glad about that, because at least it shows that we still can share our opinions on certain topics. Well, this topic is not one of those topics where if you talk about them, you get cancelled. However, I don't like the fact that I have to talk about this though. Because this topic, or this concern of mine, I'm going to make it perfectly clear that I understand all perspectives and all angles and all sides of the story of the topic. I understand that there are professionals who deal with this type of thing. I understand that at some point, so that they remain professionals, they have to treat it like a business. And I also understand that they know themselves that there are certain groups who are not supposed to come across this type of content. But it's in our face. And unfortunately, social media is putting it in our face. Right? This is my concern. Why is sex treated like it's just some topic that you can have with the kid? Why is it in our face? Like, it's in our face. Why is it in our face? Like, just scrolling, like, within the first 5 reels or first 5 shorts that you come across, you just have to come across something that has sex included in. Like, why? And it is in our face. I remember the time where if you even mention the word, people would ask, are you even old enough to talk about this? Because, again, I'm going to say this, I understand all perspectives, but shouldn't we go back to having certain conversations when you're old enough to talk about them? Yes, I understand there were parents who said no, whether you are 18, whether you're 21, or whether you're 26, or whether you started working, or even when you married. then you can mention something about sex. Now, even someone who's 13 can tell you everything about sex. Sometimes they'd even tell you something you don't know as an adult. Why is sex in our faces? Like, why is it in our face? Right? Now, again, I'm not saying this acting like I'm holier than thou. No, I'm not holier than thou. I'm saying though, it's not supposed to be in our face. Like, this was something that was private. Like, you would have this in private conversations. Now, since we have professionals, at least they do state that, hey, listen, with my profession and with this type of topic and the content that I'm going to produce or create regarding this topic is not to be consumed by someone who is under the age of 18. Obviously, there has to be some disclaimer. But you need to understand that the barriers that are supposed to be there to prevent people who are under the age of 18 to consume this type of content, they are not barriers. I mean, it is a barrier that, hey, there's a disclaimer, but are they really going to stop you from consuming that content? And it concerns me because in schools, life orientation, we're already talking about sex whilst we're under the age of 18. Now, I get understanding your body and how it works, but why are we talking about sex? Why are we talking about it? For me, it just doesn't make sense because I'm asking myself, if I have a person who's going to ask me about sex that's under the age of 18, why are you thinking about having sex under the age of 18? Like, already you're not even old enough to have sex. Now you want to talk about it? Like, of course, parents are supposed to be the ones that give us that have to be lenient on us. Like, obviously, they have to make us understand that whatever advice you want regarding sex, I'm going to give it to you because at least I'll be telling you everything that I know from the position of love. Now, some of the content that we consume is not even coming from a position of love. It's coming from a position of, no, you need to make sure that out of all the contents that you come across regarding sex, you must consume my content. Now, obviously, because it's a business, someone has to be better than someone else, or some company has to be better than some other company. Meaning, the barriers is where you actually come to find out that there are actually no barriers preventing us from consuming content that includes sex. To the point where, and it's unfortunate that I'm saying this, but it's the truth. I remember the time where even seeing someone who's half naked, that was an achievement back then. And, oh wow, hey, look, I saw her half naked. Not naked, half naked. Now, it's an achievement. Now, I want you to pay attention to the tone and to the context. Now it's an achievement that they're actually half naked or that they are dressed. You get what I'm saying? Back then it was an achievement that you're seeing them half naked. Now it's an achievement that they're actually half naked or that they're dressed. What happened? Why is this pushed onto us? Now again, I know the agendas that exist in the world. Like globally, I know why this is being pushed to us. We know which gender needs to be weak, and we know which gender needs to be strong. We know which gender needs to be inferior now, and we know which gender needs to be superior now. Obviously, some things make some genders weak, and some things make genders come from a position of power. Right? But this also applies to the other gender. They would also talk about, I saw him without a t-shirt on. Now, the fact that he's wearing a t-shirt, that's an achievement. I'm going to show you a video where I was in my car on my way to boxing, to spar. And it pissed me off because I remember that sparring session, like I was really pissed off at the fact that it was so early in the day. It wasn't even like 6 o'clock in the evening. It was like so early, like 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And in the radio, they're talking about sex, giving advice on how to make sure that your person is satisfied.
I see. If you're joining us right now, we are talking about sexual arousal dysfunction. Of course, joining us on the line is Dr. Heather Blair-Knock, a medical doctor with a special interest in sexual health. But Doc, I'm going to ask for us to hold it right here. Also to you, my breakers, I'd like to hand over the mic to you. Have you ever realized perhaps that the emotional weight you carry from stress, anxiety, unresolved pain, like Dr. mentioned, blocking your ability to feel desire or intimacy? Is this you? Send us your voice note if you're comfortable enough. You can remain anonymous. 060-552-7303. You thought I was feeling you? No.
What are they talking about sex? At midday. Oh, and the song choice. Right. And the song choice right after that. Wow. Okay. Right. And the song choice right after that. Wow. The world is fucked. Yeah.
At 12 o'clock, 12, 1, 2, in the afternoon, you're talking about sex on the radio. No, man, come on. No. What happened to just finding out what's happening in the world right now? What's happening to that? Why am I not being told what's actually happening, and why am I listening? Why when I switch on that radio station, the first thing or what the topic that was being talked about, like the topic of the day or of that what do they call it, podcast? Well, now it's a whole podcast now in radio talking about sex. Like, why aren't there barriers that actually prevent you from consuming content unless if you are old enough and mature enough to consume that type of content? Why? It beats me. It beats me that if I was to have a conversation with someone and there's a 13 or 14-year-old boy or girl that's just passing, they are already laughing at what we're saying. And they're not laughing because it's embarrassing or they're like, why are they talking about this? That's disgusting. No, to them it's not disgusting. To them it's interesting. At 13 or 14 years old, it's interesting that we're talking about sex openly. It's interesting for you, not disgusting. What happened to when kids said, ew, sex is disgusting? Ew, why are you even talking about that? There's children around here. No, now it's interesting. They know how to bypass all these barriers just to consume the type of content. No, man, we can do better. I know that there are certain people who are able to make sure that there are barriers. And it pisses me off because now it keeps taking me to the point, or it always leads me to the point where I've even given up on school. Now I'm trying to find reasons why I should take my children to school. I'm trying to find reasons why I should take my children to school. I don't even have one good reason why my children should go to school. I don't have one reason, not even one. I don't have one reason why children should go to school. The best one I can come up with just from the top of my head is that if the child wants to pursue this type of career, and in order to pursue this career, you have to go to school. That is the only reasonable and most sensible reason why I would let my child or children to go to school. But if they are, like, these ballet schools and dancing schools, if my daughters were to say, I want to be a dancer, I want to be in the entertainment industry, you don't need to go to school for that. What is art and drama going to teach you that all these schools that actually deal with that are actually in the entertainment industry? Why don't I just take them there instead of going to school where you learn about all these subjects and then you are told to choose the subject? But since you want to be in the entertainment industry, if you want to act, sing, or dance, you still need to learn accounting or physics. Just take them to the art school, or to the dancing school, or to the music school. Just take them there, where every single thing they're taught about is the entertainment industry. Why not just take them there? The modeling schools, why don't just take them there? And then if you're going to talk about boys, if they want to be mechanics, they don't need to go to school. I can just take them to the local mechanic. Everything you need to know about cars, that guy's going to teach you. You don't need to go to school. And if you want extra lessons, let's go on YouTube. A lot of things are actually learned on YouTube or on social media platforms than you'd learn them in school. It's unfortunate, but it's true. But I'm very disappointed about this thing about sex. Why is it in our face, and why is it very easy to access this type of content? Like, can't all these professionals, the sexologists, if I'm not mistaken, sexologists, all of them, why can't they just come together and find ways to at least make sure that it is not easily accessible? At least there are barriers, at least. I mean, I'm sure there's more they can do, but at least just to start things off. Don't just end with disclaimers. Disclaimers are not going to do much, because some people even ignore disclaimers because they want the content. And obviously, parents have a big role to play. So, yes, the way the system is set out now is that parents are not even able to pay attention to their children. So, there's a lot of factors that we can blame. There's a lot of things that we can blame on why this thing is easily accessible. But I know we can do better. That was what's on my mind today. So you can do better.
I want everybody to say, talk to me, Ntenjwa.